Yeah, you need that.
Yeah. Hey, my mic was too far away, which means it's Monday night at 8 p.m., which means
Monday
it's
day.
Monday day at 8 p.m., which means it's time for another episode of FM Rager. Hey, everybody, I'm your host, Connor Clifton, joined as always by my lovely co-host, Ned Gale. Ned, how the heck are you?
Doing fantastic. Just cracked open a little crispy boy. I almost called it a spicy boy. What did we call it? Crawdaddies?
We call them crawdaddies.
Crawdads.
Because we got confused when somebody called them something else. Right?
They called it a crispy boy, and then we didn't know. We're like, you mean crawdaddies?
Something like that.
You mean pork rinds?
We didn't know we just call them crawdaddies. You know, your average, what have you, beers, your cheap-ass tall boys.
Your Miller Lights, your Miller Standards, your Miller High Lifes.
Your $6 for a six-pack or under, those kind of beers.
Yeah. Your tall boy in a shot beer, whichever one that is. Pabst. What is the beer that Kyle MacLachlan in Blue Velvet says instead of Pabst?
Heineken.
Heineken.
Fuck that shit. Pabst Blue Ribbon. Yeah, that's the scene.
It's the good stuff.
Yeah, that's a good movie. It's fucked, though.
Oh, yeah. Hella fucked.
Yeah, when it comes to movies, Blue Velvet is fucked. I'm just saying.
That's the Ebert review.
I give this 2 thumbs fucked.
Ebert says, absolutely fucked, mate. This one's wicked effed, boys.
Oh, man. I don't know anything about the dynamic between Ebert and Roper. Then it was Siskel and Ebert.
Siskel and Ebert.
And then Siskel died.
Yeah. Wait, Ebert's dead.
They're both dead.
They're both dead,
Yeah,
okay.
and Roper might be
And
dead
returning
too.
from the dead this month. No.
Yeah, they're still reviewing
Oh, wait,
movies
I have a
in
scary...
hell.
Damn it, I pushed the least scary
Oh,
sample.
yeah, it's Scary Month.
That's what I got.
That's the one I hate the most. That weird laugh, because it's always like the weird light up eye skeleton.
Oh, you
that
walk
see
by
at a Walgreens.
and the hand goes.
All right, we got
some
we got a
comments coming in
convert. A bartender in the chat will say that they will now refer to them as crawdaddies. Yes.
Yes.
Man, we are changing the Houston bar scene from our wacky Szechuan sauce inspired shot to our new nomenclature of crawdaddies. Yes, Effin Rager is leaving their mark on this town.
And if you're looking to, once crawdaddy has become a standard thing and everyone understands what a crawdaddy is, that's when you can have a shot in a tall boy and call that a crawdad, crawlad. Dads and lads.
Oh, okay.
Crawdad, crawlad.
All right. No, I got very confused there. Yeah, that's good. Let's do that. Crawdads with crawlads. Yeah, we'll take our dads to the breweries and get really cheap beers. Crawdads with our crawdads.
Yeah,
Our Cajun fathers. We both have Cajun fathers. Ned, how is your
fathers?
Ned, how has your freaking week been?
I thought you were going to say, how's your freaking father? I was like, he's doing all right.
How is your dad?
He's looking to retire. He's getting close.
No shit.
Yeah, about to cross that finish line.
Damn.
Yeah.
I've toyed with asking him for a job. I better move on.
You better quick. After that, he's going to be a skateboard punk, and then he's going to beat your sorry ass up.
Have you asked him what his retirement fantasy is? Is he going to leave on good terms?
Oh, yeah. I think he's going to leave on good terms.
Okay.
He keeps getting pulled back in for another job. So I think he's just ready to, skate out.
My dad is, he retired, but then he got offered a consulting job.
Nice.
Yeah, so he's getting his union pension as well as,
hell yeah.
some really nice... yeah. That great.
Sounds like a scary good deal.
Yeah, he brags about it a lot. He's like, too bad you'll never have it.
Too bad that door will never open for you.
No shit. All right, Ned.
It's opening.
Yeah, you're gonna dole out a pension. What's the Effin Rager pension fund looking like?
Ooh, boy.
Do we have Effin 401ks?
It's a Venmo. We have a Venmo account. It's looking a little empty. I don't know if you guys see the last page on our screen or on our show, but
it's where we put our Venmo at Effin Rager. If you love this show and you're not paying for it. No,
No,
pay
you
what
constantly
you can.
pay for it by watching it.
Yeah,
Truly.
everyone's paying for it somehow. All right, Ned, how has your freaking week been?
My freaking week been good. My freaking week's been good. Last week was I wasn't doing much. Just playing a lot of video games. Working on a mask right now.
Okay. Do you have any images of Mask?
I don't have images of masks.
But you
I
can
didn't
see
really
them
think
if you
about that.
follow you on Instagram.
Yeah.
Because
Follow
I've
me
seen them on Instagram.
Yeah, Ned of the Dead. Aptly spooky name for this month, but spooky year round. Ned of the Dead on Instagram.
James made a joke.
James making jokes?
I started reading Gravity's Rainbow when I left NASA so I could retire with a pension. I'm reading Crying of Lot 49 right now, so, good. This weekend, a friend of ours came through town.
Yeah.
He's not been on any of our shows, but my friend Alex from Poland, who's living in Lake Charles, after the hurricane, his house, he just needed a break. So he came over, and he actually started getting real amped up on reading some pension, so he went to Barnes & Noble and bought...
I was going to ask why you guys went to Barnes & Noble.
Yeah, he bought V, and I was like, well, since we're over here, I need a copy of Crying of Lot 49. And I grabbed it, and I started rereading it. It's very fucking trippy. It's so much.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know how I managed to better comprehend it when I read it the first time at 22.
Because that's just the vibe, man, at 22.
Well, it's just one of those books that any book I've read in high school or early college, I think I get it, and I so clearly don't. When I go back to it, there are things I pick up on, and my critical thinking skills have definitely improved. So why the fuck is this book just I look at it, I'm like, am I holding it upside down? What the fuck is going on? I just felt smarter back then. And canonically, I don't smoke weed, so I don't know what could have happened over these past 6 or 7 years. Jeez Louise. Well, that's a head scratcher for you.
Whatever could have happened in these 6 or 9. I don't know, man.
So a friend of ours came to town as well. It was really nice to see the boy.
Yeah.
We hung out, and Ned, you went to do something very cool.
Yeah, so it's October. It's scary movie month. Everyone's doing the watch a movie a night or just trying to cram as many horror movies as they can. I am no different. I'm trying to do that right now. And on this Saturday, I went to go see a drive-in. I was going to say performance. I went to go see a drive-in screening of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I've never seen before, and I loved it.
Yeah?
It's fucking sick. And in the context of it being a 70s film, it is brutal. It's one of those things where there's a few scenes in it where you can kind of roll your eyes watching it now in 2020, but thinking of it when it came out,
right.
That movie must have been so fucking horrifying.
Wasn't it banned in certain areas?
I could see that. There's some
I
very
heard
graphic imagery in there.
Yeah.
The thing that really set off that entire movie is the sound design in it. Just the soundtrack is so intense already, and then they just have fucking people just banging trash cans for no reason. You know what I mean? It's a non-diegetic, as they call it. It's not in the world of the movie.
Right.
It's just that. Or this guy's laughing at somebody and they just have a pig squealing on top of that just to heighten it all up a little bit more. Perfection. Mwah. Great stuff.
Just that crazy kind of well, now I'm thinking of Ridley Scott's body horror with his androids with white milk shooting out. I read an interview where they talked about so why white milk? He goes, well, when I was filming, I'm assuming he sounds when I was filming Alien.
I think Ridley Scott's super American.
He's Scottish.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, so when I was filming Aliens. I don't know if that's Scottish.
Do you know, have you heard H.R. Geiger talk before? Or Giger?
I think I have.
He talks like this. It is such an immaculate feeling to see. He's talking about seeing the band Magma. He's I felt like Jesus nailed to the cross, completed.
So Ridley Scott, that's pretty good. I'm just going to imagine he sounds like Shrek. And he's talking about how when he was filming Alien and Ash starts malfunctioning, is coming after Sigourney Weaver's character. It's not Ridley.
Ripley.
Ripley.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ripley. He was just like, hang on, don't move. And then he like, whoops. And then he just like got an eyedropper. Oh, he asked for an eyedropper and some milk. And they're like, okay. And he did it. And he just like dropped some drops. And everyone, ew, it's so gross. He's like, okay, we have to rebuild the robot. And his whole belief is that like when you see white blood, it just like brings a lot more than just gore and blood to your mind. Like, and it really throws you off, and it's so disgusting.
Ugh, yeah. So I want to talk about some of the other movies I've been watching. We're just going to go down the list right now. So
do you want me to pull the list up?
Yeah, if you got it. I think I might have it here. Yeah. So I kicked off the month, and actually this is only a half watch. I need to finish it because I fell asleep. But Reanimator is where I started the month off. Classic film, saw that back in college. Speaking of brutal gore, that is I think next to Dead Alive, one of like the most like spray movies I've ever seen in my life. After that, I checked out Scanners, a little bit of Cronenberg action. I'm a freak for body horror, and Scanners it's a movie that I can't stop thinking about. I like every step of the way. I thought I hated the storyline, but I can't stop thinking about how much I liked the storyline.
So I like the storyline so much because you told it to me the next morning, and I have been thinking about that conversation a lot.
We should watch it because, like, I think it's a movie, and even when I was watching it, it was like, I don't think Connor would like this, but the more I watch it, I was like, I can't get this out of my fucking head. Like, and I really want you to watch Videodrome this month because that's another.
I've only seen two Cronenberg movies. I've seen The Fly, and then I saw his. I can't even fucking do it.
Do it.
I saw his experimental feel-good film that he did with, and then I couldn't come up with anything. And I was like, oh, now the bit's dead.
Wait,
it's
what
done.
was the bit going to be?
It was just going to be like he and ABBA made a movie together called Come On, Get Happy. Just trying to, I was like, oh, I don't know enough about Cronenberg to think about like what the anti-Cronenberg is.
You could do like history of hugging instead of history of violence.
Wait, did Cronenberg do history of violence? Yeah. All right, then I have seen two.
Sick.
I probably have seen more Cronenberg than I actually realized.
James Bedford says, Scanners blew my mind.
Someone said, not a horror, but District 9 has a great body horror moment with his fingernail. Yes, you're
absolutely.
Right. I think District 9 is kind of horror. It's definitely body horror throughout. You're losing your humanity, and the worst part about it is you're cognizant of it. And you're just seeing everyone fall around you. It's like a psychological thriller for sure. But I would lump it in with horror.
I would absolutely, especially the body horror aspect of it. Same with like the fucking Fly where he's like pulling off his fingernails.
Yeah.
And like, ooh, wonderful. Taking notes on it like a fucking
yeah.
freak.
I'd lump the horror of The Fly and District 9 about the same, and the only reason The Fly's above is the weird like birth-giving dream scene.
Oh, God.
Because that was fucking disgusting.
So October 3rd, watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That was Saturday. And then yesterday during the day, we watched From Beyond, which is a movie I saw years back. Pure schlock. Like, it is so... Yeah. I think the storyline is so, like, goofy. All the dialogue is ringingly hollow.
Much like Reanimator, it's based on an H.P. Lovecraft book, short story.
Same director, same main actor. Just someone fucking rolling the dice again. Reanimator is like gross. From Beyond is beyond gross. I don't know how to describe. Like, what did you think? I know you're not as big into body horror as I am, and I think that movie has some of the most like graphic like slime coming out of people's bodies.
I was definitely into with body horror stuff. I don't necessarily mind it. It's not that I dislike it. It's just that like I don't give a shit about any of the exposition, any of the romance. If I hear that something's a body horror, I will very quickly go to Google and look up like show me the scene, show me the monster. I don't want to give a shit about like the cop is like, I worked in football and I'm never gonna mention it again.
Wait, but he tackles somebody.
And he does wear a jersey. He does
do a football tackle.
And he wears a jersey with his name on it and no team. Which is like, and just so you remember, I'm in football. That's why I'm going to tackle this guy.
The whole concept of this movie is they create this thing called the resonator. And it's a machine that vibrates, or I guess resonates, your pineal gland. Mm-hmm. I do this because it ends up getting so engorged that it bursts out of people's heads.
Which is asinine because the pineal gland, I believe, is like right here. So it had to get
that's
really...
what's so crazy.
Yeah, it had to get really big to poke all the way through your head.
And so it allows you to see, I guess, like other layers of dimension. I'll be honest, I wasn't paying attention much either. We watched it middle of the day.
The theory is that it enlarges your pineal gland so that you're able to see another dimension mirrored on top of our own.
Right.
And the pineal gland only produces melatonin. So I'm very confused. I did a lot of like debunking and researching of the film while watching it.
Wait, you're talking about that syphilis-addled writer H.P. Lovecraft didn't know what he was talking about?
Yeah, it's so he creates this machine.
He creates this machine, and people turn on the machine, and like within where the resonator is like vibrating, you start to see this new dimension. So they see these like fucking unsettling. I know they look cheesy because you can literally see the strings on them, those eels.
Yeah,
but they're horrifying.
They're very weird looking, but it's supposed to be a pleasure dimension.
Yeah,
it's a dimension of pure pleasure. And so everybody in the room gets like horny.
Everyone gets scared and horny.
There's a line from the football player Cop who goes, "And how do you explain the hard-on I got last night?"
he's so...
It's like, speak English, damn it. How did I get this boner? Like, it's so stupid.
But the coolest part is what the main like bad guy gets sucked into the dimension early in the movie, and he dies, but he really sacrifices himself to the beyond, and you slowly get to see his face stretch. Here, it looks something like this.
Wait, am I in the...
Wait. I'm beyond.
You happy like now, you fucking animals? You like this little thing Ned made?
I like it. That's why we're doing it.
No, it's cool, man. Congrats. How'd you do this?
All this for me. I started using a program called Touch Designer that is free to use if anyone likes noodling around on the computer. But it's a node-based visualization program, or more than visualization. You can, I know people can connect like those Xbox Connect cameras to them and use it for like motion tracking. So you can do like some wild shit with it. This is what like a lot of the Day for Night stuff is built on Touch Designer. Like those kind of virtual exhibits.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm really look at all these nodes.
A lot of nodes. All right, let's see. Any other horror films?
So that's what we've seen so far. I haven't watched anything today. Spoiler alert, we have to watch a movie after this.
What is it?
I don't know.
Oh, wait, hey.
So we've got a list here. But
okay, yeah. I'm pulling the list up.
Okay.
All right, should we go from your selection or Connor's flick picks?
We can... I didn't realize you gave yourself a title on yours.
Just to clarify which ones I added.
Yeah. Well, and also in the chat, if you got some body horror suggestions, throw them my way. Valdivia said The Void. That is very on my list. I've been wanting to watch that for a while.
Yeah, it is on the list. Is that the guy who did Mandy?
I don't know who did The Void. That's Beyond the Black Rainbow.
Okay.
The Void was like an independent film that looks very much like The Thing. I think I showed you the trailer. It's got a bunch of people with like triangles on their face.
It was like super horror Holy Mountain. That was my impression.
Yeah, and
all right.
What made it so cool is they completely funded the movie, had everything ready to go, and then they launched a Kickstarter that's like, this is only for practical effects. If you want to see cool practical effects in our movie, that's what you're funding right now.
Wow.
So they were able to, like, a lot of people like pushed into it. So
okay.
They apparently did some cool stuff. I haven't watched it yet.
All right. So The Void, we're going to have you guys help us pick. The Void is up there, and then we'll pick one from Connor's flick picks.
Should we just toss this list in the chat? Or should we just throw out like 2 or 3 from each of our lists? Let's do that.
Okay. We'll throw out 2 or 3 from each of our lists.
Okay, so I'm going to type them as we say them.
Okay. We've got The Void.
Okay, The Void. Give one from your list, then I'll give one from mine.
How about American Werewolf in London?
I could absolutely fuck with American Werewolf in London. I have not... So any movie we're listing here, I have not seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that are we going back to yours again?
Yeah. Let me throw in. Let's do Hardware. I want to knock that one out earlier.
Hardware. Okay.
Oh, whoops! I already sent the thing. Hardware, little Richard Stanley cybernetic horror film.
All right, so we got Hardware, and then for me, you're gonna have Jaws.
Jaws.
I think it counts.
I'll count it. Valdivia said Frozen Solid. What was?
No, she said The Thing is solid. Frozen solid.
Frozen.
The Thing is on here. Yeah, The Thing.
No, wait. There's a book called Frozen Solid that looks kind of spooky.
It really?
I don't know.
No. We could also, we could watch The Thing. We could also watch the prequel to The Thing, the 2011 prequel about where The Thing came from. Did you know it came from space? They totally didn't hint at that at all in the original one.
No, it's that. Do you know the idea of the prequel? So at the beginning of The Thing, they go to that other base,
right?
And they like walk around it. Yeah, so that whole prequel is the entirety of like what happened in that base. And the director took a lot of care of like, there was an axe in that wall, like in the original Thing. So we're gonna make an axe in that. Like he really like went out of the way, but apparently the studio pulled their practical effects budget last second. So it's just like really weird CGI. Okay. It's not a bad movie.
Damn, y'all are throwing out some good ones.
What do we got?
Oh, I'm not watching any of those Leprechaun movies.
Ah.
No.
Basket Case, James. I watched Basket Case last month, but I really want to watch Brain Damage. The other, what is his name? Frank Herbert or whatever.
Yeah. Oh wait, did I watch Basket Case? Which one did I watch? I watched one with Curtis Armstrong. It's a bad guy, or maybe that was just the Ice Cream Man.
No, you watched with John Wayne?
Yeah,
I think it was Ice Cream Man.
Okay. Yes, Alex is still coming on. Jeez Louise. Just let us do our damn bits.
It is 8:20. We should get him on.
All right.
We can still talk horror movies with Alex.
Yeah, we'll talk horror movies with Alex. All right. Hey, guys, we got a little video that I threw together today, and we hope you like it. And when we come back, we'll have your guest.
This is more than $300 million, more than 6 times the cost of the Louisiana Purchase, more than 18 times the size of the national debt when Texas joined the Union. And that's what it takes to run Harris County for just 1 year. It's your money. Every cent of it comes from the taxpayers of Harris County. Let me show you just what size and area Harris County is. Whether you live in Houston or Tomball, Piney Point or Morgan's Point, Baytown or Sharpstown, Waller or Humble.
It was the sheriff's job to hunt them down and string them up.
Attention units in. The unit is for check by. We have a unit in pursuit.
And we're back.
Yeah.
That video is called Houston and something like it. It's from the 70s. It's all about like how Harris County is run and how it functions. It's bananas. There's not a lot of footage, and they stretch it out to 30 minutes. You should check it out on YouTube sometime. It's nutty, and it's a part of Houston history. And speaking of Houston history, your guest today has put together a book a comic book, a graphic novel, memory collage of one Houston neighborhood that we all know and is very near and dear to our hearts, and its guest is very near and dear to my heart and Ned's heart. Please welcome cartoonist, animator, and all-around funny, fun, cool guy, Alex Teich. Hey, Alex, how's it going?
Hey, guys.
Thanks for coming onto the show.
Thank you for having me on.
So,
thank you for that lovely introduction, too.
Of course. Let's talk about it real quick. It's called Walk These Streets, and it's about 40 years of Montrose history.
Right, yeah. So here's the concept. So in, end of 2018, my wife, who's kind of like a rare book finder, got me this out-of-print book, like a copy of it, and it's called The Last American City, and it's kind of a cult item. Every once in a while, somebody online's like, hey, check out this amazing book I got, and they talk all about it. I was one of those people. And it has all of these walking tours of Houston in it, but it's from 1979, right? So I was like, wow, this is exactly 40 years ago. And it's also when I was born in, like, my folks were living in Sweden in the 70s, and so when I was like maybe 2 in 1979, that's when we actually came to Houston. So I was like, okay, I got to check this out. So I walked on the tours, which take you all around Montrose, and I drew all these pictures of like, okay, well, here's what I see now in the site that is being described in the book. And most of the time, the building or whatever it was they were describing would be there. That's actually a picture of like inside that's not Montrose, but that's okay. Go back to like 2019. You can't go wrong if you if you just keep going.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Yeah, that's Montrose stuff. Yeah, that's Montrose stuff. Okay, so yeah, you can just click on one of those. Yeah, that's like a view of like Richmond and Montrose now, but like, at a different time, there were different things there. So I was drawing all these pictures, and eventually I said, okay, I could probably make a book where I say, I'll take you through this guy's tours from 40 years ago, and I'll update them, right? I'll say, here's what you see now. Here's what the area is like now. It's then and now. And after a while, I was like, well, I don't know. At first, I thought it was a cool idea, but then I was like, I need more than that. It's kind of starting to seem like an empty exercise, just because I really want to know more about like what's been going on. So I talked to people that I knew, and then I kind of got connected with friends of friends who, I could interview about their experiences in other times, other incarnations of Montrose. And some of those interviews went really long. I really got some people's, life stories. And so I just want to say, like, this is not really a history of Montrose necessarily. It's more like a conversation about Montrose where I took, these kind of long stories that these people told and wove them together. So as you're walking through this tour and looking at the drawings and learning kind of about what's going on in the neighborhood right now, you're hearing these like echoes of the past. Like, here's what happened to me when I was at, Mary's in 1982 or whatever. And, it's a lot of, some of it's curious, but a lot of it's very mundane. I'm really interested in pedestrian details. To me, that's like a kind of history that's really essential. I don't know if you guys know about like the filmmaker Chantal Ackerman. She made movies where you could see like these long kind of static shots of things. Very Criterion Collection kind of filmmaker. And like she made this one movie in the late 70s that's in New York City, which is such an incredible moment, to be in New York City in the late 70s. And it's one kind of 10-minute unbroken shot after another where you'd be on a street corner or a subway platform or inside a store, and you're just watching life. And it's just, to me, it's like electrifying. It's like time travel. It's more like time travel than anything else I can think of. Because if you look at like an actual like movie montage of New York in the late 70s, that's like edited, and it's not that, it doesn't transport you the way like just sitting in that one spot and just watching the details go by. The more I think about it, the more I realize, when you look at history, like history obviously gives you a very strong signal in the sense that, all all the details of like what's significant, what turned out to be significant. You can tell that stuff apart, and everything else you can kind of filter it out. Whereas if you're actually alive in a moment, in a place, in a time, you don't know, like all the details and all the pedestrian stuff. There's more of an entropy of like significance. Like it all is potentially significant. And so to really experience that, you have to have that pedestrian detail. And I realized this, in a sense, that's what I realized when I wanted to include these interviews. But I mean, on the surface, the concept is simple. It's just listening to people's stories, which is what you guys do. It's.
Oh, we know it sucks.
It's definitely. What's that?
I said, oh, we know it sucks. I'm just kidding.
It's what do you mean? What you don't you
Huh? No, it was a joke. I love every guest that we've ever had, including you the most.
We love every guest but one.
No.
Figure it out. No, I'm kidding.
No. I'm just making fun.
So yeah, I and that was that was a bit of a spiel I just gave you, but I mean I don't know. I've really struggled with trying to explain, and it's stupid for me to just explain it on and on because it's actually a simple enough thing. I mean, like it's just stories.
Well,
that's it.
Let me ask you this. I know that I have a story in this collage. I know there are certain friends of our show that are also featured in this collage. Did you know everyone that you interviewed, or did you meet people through this?
Definitely not. I mean, like. And a lot of these interviews happened, like I've wrapped up the drawings by the end of 2019, but by the time I was like talking to people, it was like COVID time and I was on the phone and not really meeting the people in person. And so I feel like there's at least one guy that like, when this is all over, I definitely got to get a beer with him. Like, it was just, I would call him back and we would talk for even longer. And my wife is like, why are you talking to this guy for, are you talking to him again? Are you talking to Joel again?
Feet kicked up on the bed.
Yeah, I can read you something that Joel, just kind of give you a taste. So,
Absolutely.
And he probably won't even mind. He's such a nice guy. He probably won't even mind if I do an impression of him. See? So this guy, he was a guy, this is a kid, there was a lot of HSPVA, by the way, in this book. This is a guy who was, a kid in cutoff jeans and a Pac-Man t-shirt, whose parents just let him do whatever. Like all through the 80s, just, got into trouble. And let me see. Where am I? But anyway, like he describes like what would you see when 59. So you probably know, like you got like 6 or 7 bridges that go over that that Highway 59 trench in Montrose. That of course was all elevated, and I definitely remember that. Like when it was like those were all overpasses. So there would be like all this kind of life underneath that highway. People camping out and like just stuff going on. So he wrote like, right there on Montrose under 59, there were just big sculptures of like dinosaurs, different things. Like these were made by the same artists who went on to make like the art car parade a big thing. And it was amazing how these people they'd stick these big sculptures and artworks in places around Montrose, and they wouldn't do it as part of some city program. I mean, they wouldn't ask permission. They would just stick their sculptures wherever they wanted, and then these things would just stay where they were for years. So like, under 59, you just have like all this stuff, and then like, okay, so then like the tour kind of takes you under 59, and then you're at this place where there used to be like all this stuff. It's like all demolished now, or it's like maybe a couple years ago they demolished it, right? And it's like, I don't know if you guys remember what was there, but it's like if you're on Montrose, you go just over the bridge, and it's like on your left going south, and there's that huge like sort of almost like pit in the ground where there used to be something. So okay, so it says, okay, so there had been office space here, yada, yada. This was also once the site of Consolidated Arts Warehouse. which was a converted meatpacking building that featured punk shows. And this was like, I think maybe right after Hurricane Alicia was when they set up the punk shows in Consolidated. So Joel says, yeah, I had my first drink at a bar in Montrose when I was just a kid. It was a rum and coke for $1.50. They didn't card me. Nobody cared if you were underage. It was at Consolidated Arts Warehouse. And this guy, he took me there, and he was like an orphan in the neighborhood. He was always in trouble with the cops. And the band that was playing there was an all-female band called the My Dolls. And yeah, everybody always... They're still going. The My Dolls are still going. Isn't that awesome?
Strong.
They were one of the mainstays at this place. And so he said, I just got to read you this one other bit. He says, so around that time, I also went to a birthday party at a porno theater. So my mom was friends with a guy named Jim at U of H. Now, you guys know Jim. Okay.
Yep.
So,
yeah. It's our Jim.
Okay. So
Our landlord.
So Jim and Judy. So Jim and Judy and a third person were business partners in this chain called 5 Star Films. All right. And they had theaters all over town. And my friend Connie, who was Judy's daughter, would have her birthday parties at these theaters. They closed it down to the public in the afternoon, and there were about 30 of us at one of these parties, 12 and 13-year-olds, and they showed us Dawn of the Dead, right?
Whoa.
So you had old men who were showing up at this theater trying to get in for their afternoon thing, right? And they saw the whole place. It was filled with kids who were right in the snack bar, running around on a sugar high and screaming about zombies. And,
That's fantastic.
yeah. So he goes on about that, and like, you know, and I'm not. I feel like I'm not kind of. I'm reading you something that's fun. I'm not getting to sort of okay. Let me. So some of the details they like kind of. They kind of activate the sites themselves. So Connor, you told me a story about
the Freemason temple.
The Freemasons Lodge.
Yeah, the Freemason
Right,
Lodge
the Lodge
off
of the
of Montrose.
Right. So that's an example of a story where, you know, first of all, it's cool because I get to know from reading that, like, what's inside, like, what does it look like inside? Because, I mean, you know, most people have no idea. But it's also just kind of like this very everyday, you know, story of like something that happened to you. And like that gives me a kind of a vicarious experience that makes me feel more tied to the place. And that's, you know, in a lot of ways, that's the point of the book. But there's this one like really short bit I'm going to read that's right before we talk about right before Connor tells his bit. There's this painter named David who's a friend of mine who really shared a lot. And he's really cool. He was a fellow at the Glassell School when he graduated from college, and this was like 1989. And so he like lived in the neighborhood. He had just moved in, and he was like closeted and kind of wandering around, just kind of walking, really walking the streets, kind of just trying to be introspective and figure himself out, and kind of being on the fringe of all of the LGBT activity that was so, that was so essential, especially at the time in Montrose. And he like just didn't want, he was scared. He didn't want to like, partake. But then like there's this moment in front of the Holland Lodge where he says, so his life partner is Paul. And he says here, Paul moved to Houston in August 1990. He didn't drive. He was walking up Montrose Boulevard to Buterres, and he's walking past this building with 2 jugs of water when I saw him for the first time. And he was from Rhode Island, and he was sweating more than he ever had been before, right? And I thought he was the most handsome man I'd ever seen. And I think that is like such a cool way to activate that site. Like, when I look at that Holland Lodge, I can totally imagine David and Paul meeting like right there, and Paul just sweating his ass off and carrying like giant jugs of water and being like, I can't believe this, you know, just experiencing the Houston Heat for the first time. And that was, you know, the moment that they met. So like that, you know, that's the kind of stuff that I wanted to just put together in a collage. And the frame of it is this old book from 1979. That's the essence of it.
That's great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the idea of these stories breathing extra life into these sites around Houston. Like, I think that's my favorite thing to do if I visit a new city, is just like find town square and sit. You know, like you can't just see the sites unless you sit in the sites and see how they organically move, you know? That sounds great.
I love
read
it. I think that the members of that lodge hopefully will be more offended that those two fell in love outside instead of the fact that I detailed the architecture.
Well, you kind of, I mean, Connor, you were like, oh man, I don't want to hang around with these old guys. Like, I mean, and like in the end you were like, you basically said, oh, I have nothing but respect for these guys. But you also say, well, I can't remember. But it's like, you know, you have something like, well, you can speak for you. You know what you wrote.
It was basically, I come from a family of Freemasons, and I have yet to find a lodge that works. For me, there's one up in the Heights, but it still just like doesn't feel quite right. And then this lodge, I walked in, and it was like, I'm the youngest guy here, except for one other dude who's tucking his T-shirt into his jean shorts. And the wives are present to just like hand out pizza. And they had to like sit in the other room, which is like typical for Freemason lodges, except for in New York City and LA. Most women need to enter the Order of the Eastern Star anyway. I'm delving into some deep secrets that's going to get me and Ned's tongues cut out, I think.
Why mine?
They're not the Illuminati.
I believe you.
The Freemasons supposedly just help people read again after the Dark Ages. But even that is a myth that has some issues, because Dark Ages is just a lack of resources, not just like a general everyone's dumb now. So it's, I don't know. It's weird.
Hey, Alex, we had a question in the chat
earlier.
James is asking if the story of the Montrose mummy from 1990 ever came up.
Wow.
Yes. And it was so horrible that I didn't include it.
Oh no!
Whoa!
So I actually, there were certain things that I didn't put in because I was just like, this thing has a kind of consistent tone that it's just going to be ruined if I put this thing. And it was actually David, who I just told you about meeting Paul. One of the things that terrified him, that kind of made him so wary of going into any of the bars on Westheimer, was the fact that this had happened right in an apartment building right next to, you know, maybe JR's or different drum, I don't know where, but yes, he said that there was a person who, and I don't know what the boundaries are of this show, like what it's pretty horrible to even talk about.
The only thing you can't...
Cool, I like that. I like that old-timey radio symbol. That means just
stretch it
talking.
out.
Yeah,
right,
the only thing you can't say is anything negative about Jeff Bezos, because he owns Twitch. So, you know, as long just leave Jeff out of it.
Someone who definitely was not Jeff Bezos made a mummy out of one of his victims, and the mummy had 2 holes. All right. And you can guess where the 2 holes were located. And so the rest of the body was wrapped up with just these 2 holes for the use of the... Shall I go on? I'm not good at this. He told me about this, and he was like, it was so intense that like, and he was like, and this is one of the reasons that I was terrified. And I don't know.
I could see how that'd be.
I was too squeamish to put it in. I couldn't do it. Yeah. But yes, I do know about the Montrose. Very good question. I didn't think that was going to come up in this interview.
No, yeah, that's crazy. That's a story that belongs on the campuses of Rice University for all I care about. It's so scandalous and dirty. Jeez Louise, not on our show. Alex, are there places you've since moved away from Houston, and you're working on this work. Are there places that now that you're just like driven to go back to and visit since you've completed it?
You know, I have to come back and just soak everything up, you know, whenever I haven't, you know, in so many months, you know, but in some ways, I mean, like some of it, I don't know. It's hard to say. At the time I thought like, I'm kind of getting this out of my system, but I don't know. It's definitely more, Houston itself is definitely more me than any other city. And Montrose is really, you know, I mean, even when I was a kid, it's not like I grew up in the neighborhood, but just so many of the cool things that happened to me were there. Yeah, so it's very, and also just, I mean, and I talk about this in the book, like living in that house, the house on Mandel Street, you know, and that's where we lived when my kid was born, and you know, she turned 3 like in that house, and so it's you know, and so she was a baby, and you know, growing up in Cherryhurst Park, like one of my favorite memories ever is like pushing her in a swing in Cherryhurst Park when she's like 3-4 months old, and so it's like the first time she was in a swing, so she just has no idea what's going on, and they just let her go to just swing like just that much, and she's like and she was just so delighted just by that little thing, and it just blew my mind, you know. So yeah, I don't know, I always want to be able to go back and replay that stuff, you know. It's
well, if you did, you got a couch to crash on.
Yeah. I know, buddy.
Now,
I assume
we'd gladly welcome you into our house, and you've also welcomed us into your house when we watched a horror movie in your backyard. We watched
oh man,
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Dream Warriors.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was 3, or was that 2?
That's 3.
3?
That's the one that
3.
Dawkins did the soundtrack
so
for.
Good.
Oh yeah, Dawkins. We were talking earlier in the show about how we've been watching some horror films, and we got to watch one tonight, and we're still trying to figure it out. We've thrown some out, and I want you to hear these, and if you don't like them, then tell us what you think. But we're looking at The Void.
Okay.
American Werewolf in London. Hardware. Jaws. And The Thing is getting, like, I consider the audience demand.
The Thing is kind of, first of all, Jaws horror movie, I guess.
It's scary. Not seeing the shark is key. It makes it scarier when the shark.
Oh, no doubt.
Bruce
No,
shows up.
look, it's. I don't know if that's an October movie for me. Anyway, I'm just saying. And of those, I feel like other than Jaws, like The Thing, I've seen by far the most times. Like American Werewolf, and I probably saw that once a really long time ago. The rest of them, I don't know. There's so much, like, you guys don't know. Like when I was in high school, my family would be going to bed, and I'd be leaving the house to go by myself to the movie theater to see 2 movies. Just, you know, watch a movie in the movie theater and then sneak into a second movie and watch a second movie and then come home.
Did they go to bed at like 5
Because I wanted to
p.m.?
watch all the, like, this was like in the 90s when like I was so, I wanted to see all the movies. I was just like, I wanted to be like the movie book. And like at some point after 2000, I really checked out, and just so much has happened that I just have you could name probably hundreds of movies in the last 15 years that I've never heard of, probably hundreds. So like, I'll bet like, and so much horror. I mean, I have this sense that like so much horror has come out. Mm-hmm. There's one horror movie that is like not too old. I mean, the last 15 years, you know, that I thought was amazing, called House of the Devil, that I thought deserved a much, I don't know if people have seen that, but I get the sense that it wasn't a huge hit, and it should have been, because it was so good.
This poster is wild.
Yeah, I like that.
I really, really love House of the Devil. You guys should check that out.
Oh, this looks like they're trying to recreate that 80s horror. See, everyone's got feathered hair.
Yeah, it has a little of that retro thing happening, but it doesn't rely on it. It's very good.
Okay.
And what was I going to... Oh, yeah. If you want to do actual 80s, I definitely recommend Pumpkinhead, which a lot of people haven't seen for some reason.
Pumpkinhead has come up. Yeah. We'll add that to the list.
And I would say also, like, I mean, I'm sure you've seen Basket Case.
Yeah. Huge fan.
Basket Case is really a favorite of mine. I really, really love it because it has so many moments of just startling humanity in it. And like I mean, like for all of its low budget and like the actors aren't that good, the photography, like nobody really knows what they're doing, but they also kind of do. Like they also have this really, like in their hearts, they know how to make a movie. And I love movies like that. I love movies where like they don't have the technical skill or the training, but somehow they make a classic, you
They're
know.
all so
and Basket
into
Case
it.
is one of those movies, you know.
Yeah. Have you seen that guy's other movie called Brain Damage? I was talking about it before the break. It's this guy finds like this alien leech thing that like embeds itself into his back and just like enhances his senses. And the idea is like, I'll give you the best life possible if you like go kill people for me. Like it's getting the same vibe as Basket Case. He literally runs into the main character of Basket Case in the movie. It is. I only watched the first half of it. It's on my list for this month, but I that's my recommendation for you.
I will watch it. Yes, I will watch that. Yeah, it's very good. What do you guys think of? Have you seen American Werewolf before?
I've never seen it.
I have, and I think it's a 10 out of 10.
How would you rate? What's the best werewolf transition? That or The Howling? Like, what movie has the best like transition scene where the guy changes into a wolf? Because people, I mean, like, they're both real. Like The Howling, with the effects are amazing. Like I think it's Robert Picardo in the suit that's just sort of like pulsing and like exploding.
I'm gonna have to go with 2004's Van Helsing, where the guy just blows up like a balloon and then his skin explodes off of him and he's a wolf underneath it. I have not seen The Howling, but we're looking at the images and it looks fucked. I'll say that American Werewolf in London had, even watching it now, is I think a pretty good transformation sequence.
We'll have the $5.99 steak special.
No, don't play that general ad. All right, are we
pull up the transform?
Are we gonna pull up the transform?
We might as well.
All right, we're gonna play the transform right now on our show.
Okay.
Who's gonna stop us? Let's be fair. Oh wait, we probably shouldn't show these general ads though.
Or these Taco Bell
this
ads.
Taco Bell ad.
All right, skip the ad.
Skipped.
Here we go. Whoa.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, I think that's Robert Picardo. Okay. Now, it's kind of funny how long this goes on. Like, it kind of goes on too long. I'll say that. But, like, they're really showing off some, like, practical special effects that are cool.
I like doing
All right. It's gradual. I don't know. This is going to, like, take the rest of your show, probably, for this transfer.
Yeah, here, we'll do this. We'll do this at 2 speed.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
You haven't seen anything. It like just watch when it starts like pulsing. Okay, here we go.
Oh, I wish I could grab
like
my
that's
nails
not
like
that's not a computer, my dudes. That is a practical special effect.
Yeesh.
I've been reading this Tom Savini book before I go to bed about just like all the like attaching little servo motors onto people's chests and making them just like vibrate on somebody. Whoa!
Wow. That's what I love. The elongation of the face is something that is kind of tough to pull off, and this is good.
Stretch.
Okay.
I think it's funny. Like, if you've ever seen Inner Space, Robert Picardo has to do something pretty similar to this in that movie.
So you want us to compare them, but they're very different, I think, because this one has somebody in the room with them, adding to the horror already. So you're seeing like the body horror of a transformation combined with the horror of seeing like someone become a monster.
Yeah.
But I mean, that one was a lot scarier. American Werewolf, he was just like, no, ah! And the Howling, he looked like, you're seeing what I want to be. Like, he looked devious and evil.
It sounds like we need to watch both of them to truly get the
All
proper
right.
context.
We'll do some werewolf movies.
Yeah.
Alex, I have a question in the chat before we move on to our final segment here. Who is your favorite Lizzie McGuire character? Lizzie McGuire is about the horrors of puberty.
Who wrote this question?
Evan McCarley. For those who don't know, Alex is a former animator on the Lizzie McGuire show. And I think you and Evan shared the stage at our live show.
Oh,
We
yeah,
did.
yeah. It was a combo.
Yeah.
So I have a question for Evan. Does she not recall that I said that I have never actually seen an episode of Lizzie McGuire? And you guys at the time, you were like, how could you not have seen an episode of Lizzie McGuire? I couldn't remember at the time. I have an explanation. Here's why. It was on cable. Remember cable? It was on cable. I didn't have cable. Here's what I had. My New York City apartment had a box with dog ear antennas, and the only thing you could watch was like a Mets game that was mixed with like a Frasier rerun, like on New York 1.
Just kind of going
And
in
so
and out.
like you'd see Mike Piazza hitting somebody while like John Mahoney was yelling at somebody. Like that's the only thing you could watch on my TV.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, folks. That's why. All right, Alex, we're going to move into our final segment. I thought that you had done our radio show before, and you haven't, so I apologize for what you're about to hear. So hang tight. I want a new plug. Tell us what's going on. Tell us all the stuff you're doing after we sing this song. All right, Alex, do you have anything that you'd like to plug? Your social medias or any books you may have recently published?
Man, you can buy copies of Walk These Streets right now if you go to my Instagram account, to the link in the bio, which takes you to a square page where you can push a button and get one of the books. And I have enough for, a few people to get one. And then like later I'm going to have a lot more copies. And it's also going to be in the Zine Fest Houston thing, and
Ooh.
But yeah, you can get one right now. There's still some for definitely like in this box right here. I could be your psychic
could be
friend
you.
right now if you go to my Instagram page.
And we went ahead and put the checkout and the checkout link in our chat here, so people can directly click on that. But hey, you should go to the Instagram to check out some other art. We've
put
got
that
your
on the screen.
username here, _ chapeau.
Chapeau.
Yeah. One of the
right.
things that's pretty popular in that account right now, like I made an animation with my daughter, which is pretty cool. Like we made an animation together, and it's just kind of nuts. And people are like, "Oh, this is good." So yeah, maybe we'll make another one. I don't know if I can get her to. I don't think she wants to work with me anymore.
She's moved on to Netflix.
Are you hard on her, or is she just like, come on, Dad, pick up the pace?
No, I'm like, let's focus here. Like, she basically sort of inserts all the chaos into the animation, which is a necessary element that there's not enough of. That's why I enjoy working with her on animation. She brings the crazy.
That's great. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. Ned, do you have anything that you'd like to plug?
As I said earlier, at Net of the Dead on Instagram. Give me a follow. You can see some updates on the mask I'm working on. And just hit me up if you want to talk or something. I don't know. I'm around.
I'm at Cliftocurrency on Twitter and Instagram. It's still private, so if you want to follow me, just send me a follow request, and I'll probably approve it. Whatever. Other than that, I don't got anything else to plug. Oh, on the third Tuesday of the month, we're going to be hosting Grown Up Story Time.
Yeah.
That is going to be
You get it?
on the day of October,
It will be the 19th.
the 19th.
October 19th. That's a... Yep.
And this Friday,
Wait, that's wrong. I said 10/19. That should be 20th.
Yeah, and then this Friday, there's going to be a Zine Fest thing.
The Zine Fest compilation release party will be happening on Zoom.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Or actually, no, it'll be happening on the Zine Fest Houston Twitch. Sorry, guys. I forgot to write all this down.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be on Zoom, but broadcast through Twitch.
Yeah. So as we told you last week, follow Zine Fest Houston on Twitch to get yourself ready for all those exciting updates and videos.
Anyone in the chat, you got 10 seconds. You got anything you want to plug? Sound off.
Any body horror movies you want to plug for me to watch?
Yeah, anything. All right, Alex. Thank you very much for coming onto the show.
Hey.
We appreciate it.
It's really been fun. I've really enjoyed this a lot.
It was wonderful
Thanks.
talking to you.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to open your book. The stories you told were fantastic, and the artwork looks great. So I'm ready to check it out.
Oh, there's way more. There's way more stuff that I was tantalized to share that you'll definitely enjoy. Yeah.
Excellent.
I can't wait.
You cannot wait.
Someone's plugging in the chat. Trivia at 10 o'clock at the Cottonmouth Club channel. So
Oh,
check
yeah,
that out.
that'll be after that. That'll be after this show, I believe.
Yeah.
All right, so tune into that. And then on their Instagram. And also, Necromancy would like to plug Saw 5, the movie. Don't know much about that.
If you saw 4, it's time to see Saw 5.
If you... All right. Thank you all very much for tuning into the show. And special thanks to our guest, Alex Teich, for coming on. We'll see you next week. We love you very much. Bye.
Bye.